Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. Guys, my name is Angela Shurina, and I'm a certified nutritionist, health nutrition coach, productivity coach. I also coach athletes. I help people to use nutrition as a tool to improve every single aspect of their life that they're struggling with. Of course, different people have different goals, from changing body composition and looking and feeling like a superhero, superwoman, to improving that productivity of your brain, like working from morning till whatever your hours are with your full capacity instead of barely making it till afternoon, and then definitely have sleeping through the afternoon, right? How do we stay as productive as we possibly can in the hours that we dedicate to work? That's another problem I help my clients, especially entrepreneurs who are interested in maximizing the output of every single hour of their day. Who else? Athletes? Yeah, definitely. Training more is not going to give any professional athlete any more results that they're already getting. The next level for them is recovery and nutrition, of course. And that's what I also help my athletes to optimize recovery and nutrition. That's where usually the next level for them is. Just a few things I do. But guys, of course, my main job is being a coach. And I don't just tell people what to do. Like, a lot of people know, at least approximately, which direction they should be moving with their eating habits, but they aren't moving there, not consistently. And today we are talking about this habit that I help my clients to develop over the course of our work together. And this habit is eating more vegetables. Usually people I meet fall into two categories. I love my veggies, I hate my veggies. Like, in between, rarely. There are usually two categories. I love my veggies, I hate my veggies. I was in both camps, and now I'm staying in I love my veggies camp for life. And as a coach, guys, I don't just tell my clients to, okay, now you gotta love your broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and spinach, and bok choy, and, the more, the better. You just have to eat a pound of them every single day. I don't care how, right? That's not how it goes. With my clients, we start introducing vegetables that they are the least aversive to. For somebody it's spinach, for somebody it's broccoli, somebody is pretty good with asparagus or Brussels sprouts, although Brussels sprouts are a rare guest on many of my beginners into healthy eating clients. So we choose vegetables that my clients kind of okay with, and then we start experimenting how we can, number one, make them convenient. For somebody, it's just having them cut and ready to be cooked, in the fridge, for someone, it's having frozen vegetables, and that's the easiest way for them to eat them consistently instead of worrying always, about vegetables going bad or having to eat them really fast. For someone, it's cooking once and eating many times. Yeah, there is some nutrition value going to be lost, but it's better than not eating them at all. Much, much better, right? So for someone, it's cooking for the whole week, or cooking for half a week and doing a couple of times per week. For different people, different things work, right? So number one, making them convenient. And number two, that is also hugely important, is cooking vegetables in a way so you actually love them. You start enjoying the taste. Now, at the beginning, guys, we know that a lot of kids are picky eaters. Like, it takes time for them to try new foods and to start eating them consistently. They kind of like, most of the kids, if you give them, some vegetable for the first time, they like play with it, maybe eat a piece, but that's going to be about it. A lot of work has been done with kids and how to form better eating habits. And it's been shown that you got to give your kids like 16 to 20 times something to try, like a new vegetable especially. If it's sweet, they usually are much better. But if it's vegetable, yeah, it's like 16, sometimes 30 times before a kid start eating it consistently. And people think that that's only kids' problem. But what I notice with my adult clients, they're kind of the same. Although now their expectations are higher. They try vegetable that they either eat very rarely or never or for the first time. And they're like, kind of don't like it. So gonna have something else. The thing is, first, your taste buds are not familiar with this new texture, flavor. Vegetables are usually on a bitter side, and especially if you're someone who are used to eating mostly sweeter things, or at least, some savory stuff, but without this, bitterness or like more weird, I guess, taste, then you're not gonna like it at the first bite. It's not gonna happen. Your gut microbiome is not used to it. Your taste buds are not used to that. Your brain is like, what is it? Is it safe? Is it not safe? And again, especially if you're just beginning to explore vegetables, you're not gonna like them at your first bite. Not gonna happen. But that doesn't mean that you can't develop a liking to them or even love for them. No, it just means first you need to try them many more times. The second thing, you need to learn how to make them delicious. Guys, some people think that I just eat vegetables in any form. Whatever vegetables you give me, I'm gonna eat them like steamed or in a salad. No, I actually am pretty picky about how I make my vegetables. I remember I tried for the first time, and I was already like 29, I think. No, the first time, I think, when I tried my Brussels sprouts, I was a teenager, yeah. And somebody gave it to me steamed, and I think they were even frozen before. And it tasted disgusting, and I thought it was the most, how can people eat that? This is like the most disgusting food on the entire planet, right? And so probably the second time I tried my Brussels sprouts was when I was spending a few years in US when I was like 28, so it was a few years ago. And I tried them at Whole Foods, and they were roasted with olive oil, salt, black pepper, and garlic. And oh my God, I'm like, these Brussels sprouts, did they grow new ones? Because they tasted so amazing. And why? Because they were made with olive oil, black pepper, salt, and garlic. So there was all this flavor, and then they were done well, and they were done from fresh. And it's a huge difference, right? So after that, almost every time I would go to Whole Foods, I would get literally like a bucket, whatever Brussels sprouts they had, I would take them all. And then I would eat them over the course of several days. And the point is, it matters how you cook your vegetables. And you can hate vegetables cooked in one way, like your spinach or your broccoli, and then you can be okay with cooking them another way, like this roasted Brussels sprouts. These days, to make it super easy for myself, what I do is when I cook my meals with a lot of vegetables, and I cook all sorts of vegetables, from some cactus vegetable thing here in Mexico to bok choy and weird greens that I don't know the name of in some Asian markets. Some of them have pretty nice taste, some of them kind of bitter, kind of weird. But I add my curry spices, Italian or Mexican. There are also all kinds of pizza, burger, or for fish, for meat, for all kinds of chicken. I check the ingredients, of course. So there is no added sugars, no monosodium glutamate, etc. But other than that, so I add all these spices while cooking. And guess what, guys? I don't even really taste the initial flavor of those vegetables. I just taste this amazing dish with usually fish or shellfish or some meat in there. So I taste that, my spices, my herbs, I eat tomatoes, mushrooms, all these things that also give a lot of flavor. And then I eat a ton of vegetables with them. For example, spinach. I don't particularly like the taste of spinach. Not that I actually like a taste of any vegetable, to be honest. I grew up in Siberia. We never had any vegetables. Our vegetables was potato. onion, carrot, and cabbage. Yeah, those were, and in summer we had lettuce with some fresh herbs. Believe it or not, that's how I grew up. So all these vegetables are completely new to me. My brain is still, I think, kind of like, I'm not sure about that, right? But when I cook them with all these herbs and spices and all these flavors, and there is fish or meat, and there is tomatoes and mushrooms and all these other things that I like to add for flavor. I didn't taste any of those vegetables anymore, and I eat a ton of them. And that's the key. Well, there are two keys to loving your vegetables. Number one, if you didn't like them once, add a little bit every single time you eat still. And number two, try different ways of cooking them. Herbs, spices. The less you like your vegetables, the more your favorite spices you gotta add to them. And don't be afraid of experiment. Don't just buy, spices for vegetables. I don't even know if there is such a thing. Buy other things. Like I use curry spices for my vegetables, but I don't make any curry or any rice. I just add those spices. Italian, I like those. Mexican, but I make sure it's not too hot. I'm not into spicy stuff. And I just try different also herbs and spices all the time. And that's the key. And not sometimes actually, often my clients ask, like, can I just not eat vegetables? Of course you can. You can do whatever it is you want. But vegetables are this food group that is lowest in calories and highest in nutrients per calorie, per bite, plus richest in antioxidants. And there is a ton of fiber and ton of water. And it's been shown that people who are in really great shape for their whole life and they don't have a lot of degenerative diseases like dementia or Alzheimer's or a lot of other stuff or heart disease, they are all vegetable eaters. And they don't have some gene to love vegetables, guys. No, it's a habit that they developed. Again, I started eating my vegetables, like a lot of them, when I was 28. Now I'm 34, 6 years ago. So I learned it not when I was a kid. Again, growing up in Siberia, the only vegetables we really had on a consistent basis were onions, potatoes, carrots, and cabbage. That's it. And in summer, again, some cucumbers, tomatoes, and fresh herbs and lettuces. And let me tell you this, as a kid, I had so many issues with my health, with my digestive system. I had a lot of anxieties, like my gut health wasn't there. I developed autoimmune condition. So I had so much stuff, and now I have none of that. None of that. Also, most of the foods like chicken livers or oysters or mussels or sardines, almost like every other food on my eating list today, I tried it when I was like, again, 28, 27, 28, when I got into US and they had all this variety. But now I was focused as a nutrition coach on my health. And so I started trying this and figuring out how to make them delicious. So I like them. I was committed to that, right? To include more variety, because I knew the more variety, the more nutrients, the better my health and fitness, my health on, emotional health, my mental health, my physical health going to be today and many years from now. Plus, for your brain, if you want to keep your brain productive and healthy, there is no question about it. You need to start eating your vegetables. A lot of antioxidants and green color especially. And so all these foods I tried when I was then in US, and I developed these habits, and then I brought them back home to Russia. And at that moment, after a few years, there was more variety. People were getting into vegetables, and food industry got developed, and you could buy things like kale and Brussels sprouts and broccoli, all of that in abundance. And so I introduced this to my parents, and now they eat them every single day. And they are in their 60s, guys, and they were not vegetable lovers. They spent most of their life not eating much vegetables, but especially during pandemic, we stayed together for 6 months, and I was cooking vegetables every single day. And after I left, they still cook vegetables every single day because they felt and are continuing to feel amazing every single day. And their weight, it's much easier to maintain, their energy levels, their mood, everything. They smile, laugh so much more often. So vegetables, They are one-of-a-kind food group. And no, guys, if you're interested in your health and fitness, you can't skip vegetables. And you gotta learn how to enjoy them. And spices, herbs, that's my hack. And also, we are just like kids, guys. We need to try food several times before developing liking to them. Of course, if you're allergic to things, but there are very few things in vegetable kingdom that people are allergic to be honest. Like, but most people, might be allergic to some nuts or dairy or gluten, but vegetables, no. People, again, bitter flavors, different flavors, just not used to them. They were not in our habits. And so just like kids, we need to try them many, many times and learn how to cook them in a way so we genuinely start enjoying them. But again, it's going to take a while. That's it for today, guys. It was all about loving your vegetables and my own story about how I got to be a lover of vegetables instead of a hater of vegetables. So now it's your turn. Pick up a lot of different vegetables a little bit, don't go crazy. Next time you do your grocery shopping, so pick up a few, 4 or 5 varieties, a little bit of each. And then pick up a few spices and herbs mixes that you like, maybe from like different cuisines from around the world. And then start experimenting with your vegetables. One piece of advice, don't use high heat for a long time in vegetables. They're going to lose a lot of nutrition value. Number 2, try to use the cooking liquid because a lot of vitamins and minerals, if you cook something, especially in water, they're going to leak out into that water. So try to use it. Use little water as I do, just at the bottom of my pan. I add a little bit of water. I don't use oil for lean purposes. So a little bit of water, there is kind of like steaming effect in my pan, and that's how I cook my vegetables. I add a lot of spices, herbs, and a lot of other ingredients. And let's start loving our vegetables. They gonna love you back so much for years to come. So eat your veggies. Share this episode with another person. Maybe, get together with another veggie nut lover and start experimenting with your vegetables and learn ways together how to eat more and love more of your vegetables. Share this episode. And guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And till next time, eat more veggies.